All right, I'm gonna put that there, give you guys something to look at. I gotta be right back. All right, guys, am I on? All right, I got to put a little bit of fire in the first shed. I'll be here in just a second. Fire in the first shed, that doesn't sound good. Oh. Okay. All right, here we are. Anybody here? Speak up. Sorry, it took me a minute to get straightened out and situated. I was in the house with the wife and kids watching going through the live stream, the live chat and everything. So yeah, I had to run over the shed and get everything kind of moved over. Hey Brad, what's up? Time in the first shed looks like a lot of fun. Hey, I got this guy thawing out in the first shed. So one of those sets that you guys saw on the video where I actually had a martin. I caught a martin before. I actually caught this fisher. Hey, what's up, Mike? Did you send your tape to me in the mail? Did you send me a disc? So I'm actually trying to thaw him out so I can get the trap off him without messing up the fur, and then I want to weigh him. I want to see how heavy he is. It's probably like 10 pounds, 10 or 12 pounds. Yeah, Brad, that was in a small box with a 4-inch opening. That'll be on the next video that I do. That might actually be the last one. Hey, Loki or Loki, what's up? Good to see you again. I never know how to pronounce that. Okay. Mike, should I check in my mailbox for something? I got something from you. Okay. I have answer a question from Brad because oh, come on. You're just like Pat Connolly. You on here, Pat? Pat's supposed to send me something too. I haven't got anything yet. God of tricksters. Okay, so Brad, you took the trapper education course, and obviously it's a long, drawn out, extensive course, but the laws in Maine are so complex that you have to. I keep the book in my truck all the time because I get to be careful and make sure I'm following the rules. And so it's stressful sometimes. That's why I like trapping in Alaska. But it can be done. You just have to be very careful. So you asked about bait. Let's go to, because the reason that I am actually, I don't even see that. So there are two different seasons. Brad did 5 hours online and 3 in class. Hey, that was actually not bad. I thought it was supposed to be 10 hours in person. So the problem is there's two different seasons. The early fox and coyote season, you can't use any exposed bait or visual attractor. Then the regular season, you can use visual attractors, but you can't use exposed bait unless the bait is at least 50 yards from your trap which essentially you can't use exposed bait. Now, the question is, are feathers considered visual attractor, or are they considered bait? And that's what I'm trying to look at. If Cole, if you're on here, you'll know this already, but bait is defined as animal matter, including meat, skin, bones, feathers, hair, or any other solid substance used to be part of the animal. Includes live or dead fish. Bait does not include animal droppings, urine, or animals dead or alive held in the trap result of illegal lawful trapping activity. So, as far as I know, that means that feathers are bait. So, you cannot use exposed feathers for bobcat trapping. In my understanding of the law, Derek, let me know if I'm wrong there. You can use like a CD, you can use tinsel, you can use other visual attractors, but not part of an animal. So yeah, only showing 2 in here on my side. I don't know what that means. Okay, so I don't have anything really planned for this, but I have some things I'm going to show you. So I showed you the Fisher. Cole sounds right. Okay, good. Cole's on the board, Maine Trappers Association, so he's up on the stuff. Guys, if trappingtodaystore.com, we get these new koozies, can coolers. I know Pat just ordered one today. Cole, one of your coworkers, I believe, ordered one. So you don't want to be the only person in the office without one of these. So you better get on it. I'm running a special on the store. If you purchase anything over $50 or more, I'm going to throw in a free koozie. If you purchase anything $100, which is not very common, most of the orders are like $25 to $50. But I'll throw in a couple of them. But anyway, these are pretty cool. That's the new logo that Philippe Willis from Our Numinous Nature has put together for me. That's part of that same Marten drawing that's from that Mustela t-shirt. So yeah, that's the Trapping Today logo. And in behind me, you can see there's a poster there. And I just had a bunch of these printed up. So this is the same artwork. Got an LDC? Yeah, of course I have LDC on the store. Come on, man. Yeah, I absolutely. So this is the Trapping Today prized mustelids of the North American Trapper. And so this is the same artwork that's on the mustelid t-shirt. And so here we get the Wolverine, Otter, Badger, Fisher, Marten, Weasel, Mink. Really cool. Just beautiful, beautiful artwork. As you can see here, it's great to have on the wall of your fur shed, just to it's something cool to look at. And then you also can educate people that come in, people that you talk to that don't really understand much about that. Just some of the animals that we like to trap and their importance. So these are $15 free shipping on trappingtodaystore.com. Look, trying to do a giveaway. They keep taking almost half of the people. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Okay, so that's that. Pat, yes, that's right. Pat had a question about traps for Fisher, I think. So I don't. One of the guys on the live stream was talking. Hey, Pat, what's up? You're here. Okay, I guess I got to show Pat the Fisher if he's late. Jeez, you late? I already said some bad stuff about you a minute ago. I guess you'll have to watch the replay. There you go, Pat. It's not on a Foothold, though. So, Brad, do you prefer wire or wood? I see both. Yeah, I don't. Brad, fur prices are so low right now. It doesn't really matter, in my opinion. Wood is kind of cool because it's old school, and with wood you can pin furs down really evenly, and you can make everything nice and uniform, and you can get your sizes just right. With wire, it's kind of it's not as neat, and so when fur prices are really high and you're in a good market, wood stretchers are always going to get you a better grade on your fur. But for the most part, if you're in an area that fur quality is pretty low, or if you're in a low fur market, it's not going to matter really. I just use whatever. I get a whole bunch. The reason I have all this stuff actually is because I keep buying trapping supplies. It's a disease I have, and guys that are selling out, they're done trapping and they have $300-400 worth of stuff, I find myself buying them out, buying everything. And I never want stretchers because everybody has tons of stretchers and they can't get rid of them, and I can't get rid of them. So they pile up in the shed. Pat, I meant what trap you're in Footholds. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, man. I'm here for you. So the disease is really just. So like I said, I'm doing body grips because of the 5-day check law. If we didn't have a check law here, I would be running Footholds in the woods for Martin and Fisher. It would be far superior. Catch rates, I don't know what the catch rates would be, but I would be very confident in saying that they'd be at least double compared to the boxes that we're required to use right now. So it'll be good next year. Thanks, Jeff. I really appreciate that. Next year, I'm hoping to have a week off of vacation and probably do like a 10-day line for Fisher and Martin, but mainly Fisher. I'm going to do it closer to home. And it's just going to be a Foothold line. So I'm going to check it every day. And so these are kind of some traps that I really don't use at all. But I've been gathering them up in anticipation of doing this. And I get a friend from Alaska that's planning to come and trap with me. So it should be fun. He's never caught a Fisher before. So these are number 1.5 Duke coil springs, round jaw. I picked these up in a lot, it was a result of the disease. I had someone that had a bunch of traps and I bought them. And then I really kind of liked the look of them for Fisher. And so I was at the MTA and I picked up a few more, and I found another spot. I picked up a few more, but I don't like them. We don't have very many foxes here. I use like MB550s for fox and coyote mainly, a few other traps, but I don't use these for anything really. I mean, we don't have much for raccoon or mink either. So they're kind of a trap that I don't have a lot of use for right now, but I think they're pretty ideal for Fisher trapping because the springs, these are kind of older Victor traps. The springs are pretty weak. Somebody did a great job of adding lamination on the jaws. So you got a wider surface area that's in contact with the foot. The springs aren't that strong. I don't think he takes a lot to hold a Fisher. It's not like holding a coyote. And these are actually almost fully modified for Maine. So you have to have, the chain has to be center mounted on the base plate, and then you have to have 3 swivels. This has 2, so all I got to do is add another swivel right here. And this trap will pretty much be ready to go. You can really adjust pan tension pretty easily with this. You got an adjustment screw here. It's just a nice, simple, small, cheap trap. Just $2-3 for these, if you can find them used. And I've been hoarding those. I'll probably have 3-4 dozen of them. And I have some traps that I have some Bridger 1.5s that I bought when I was trapping in Utah way back in the day, and 1.5s and 1.65s. And they burn when my original fur shed burned to the ground. Those traps burned in it and the metal was all weak. Well, I couldn't really sell them because the steel was no good, but I didn't really want to throw them away. So I bought new springs and I respringed them, and I think they're going to work pretty good too for Fisher. So that's kind of my deal. Okay, Brad, some Foothold demos for Fisher and Martin would be really cool. Yeah, that would be good. Actually, I haven't seen many people do anything on Footholds for Martin and Fisher lately. Recent videos. I have some old school Martin videos with Foothold instruction and demonstrations, but I haven't seen anything recent. So maybe I'll have to do some of those next fall. Logie Fisher and Gray Fox evade me. Yeah, Fisher have a way of doing it. Fisher are tough because they have a mind of their own, and if they seem to have like a one-track mind. If they're only interested in one thing, it doesn't matter what you have for bait or lure, they'll check it out and they'll just tick right off, and then they'll be gone. At least in my experience up here, they'll be gone for between 10 days and 3 weeks before they come back. And you just got to wait them out. And they come back the next time and they may be interested that time, they may not. And so that's typically the way a lot of times the way I've caught fisher is, and I can only tell this when I've got enough snow that I can see what's going on. But a lot of times the way I catch fisher is it's like the second or third time that they come to the set. And you'll see them like they'll be running right down the road, right down a logging road. They're not like a martin. Martin likes to be in cover. The fish are big enough. The birds don't bother them. So they're not worried about that. They go right down the middle of the road and they'll go for a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, sometimes more. And they'll go in and check your set and they'll go back out and whatever, and they'll be gone. You won't see their tracks for a week or 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden you'll see it again. And this time they might decide to go into your set, and you might have 4 or 5 traps along this road that they're traveling, and they finally go into one of them and get caught. And I don't know what it is about that. Sometimes I've noticed like right before a storm that all of a sudden they'll be all active and feeding and decide, okay, this time I'm going to go in that box. Next year it'll be interesting to see that if, using footholds, are they more likely to just, even times when they're not really that interested, are they going to just go in and investigate enough to get caught in that foothold? I don't know yet. All right. Real life, do you create a night latch? I do. So I've done night latch for my fox and coyote traps, but I haven't done it for anything else. I haven't done it for water traps. And honestly, I haven't done martin fisher footholds since I've been back to Maine, really, to speak of. So I don't know that it's necessary for animal like martin or fisher. I do think for fox or coyote that you don't really want to have a lot of pan travel before that trap fires, because you could have a tendency of missing them. Brad, how do you keep your traps from freezing in? There's a million different ways. You're talking about foothold traps, Brad? Foothold is not something I've experienced with Gold Country. Any info would be good. Brad, I'll check the old videos. All right. Otters on drowner wire is something I'd like to experiment with. Yeah, that'd be interesting. It's like they make a mental note of the food, come back. It's exactly right, Brad. That's kind of what I'm thinking has been going on in my line this year. A lot of spots where they've gone in, and based on the last 4, 5, 6 years that I've been doing this, I'm seeing a pattern, and I'm thinking, okay, the years where they got lots of food, they're kind of checking it out. They know that set is there. They're not interested in feeding and eating whatever that bait is, but they know it's there. They're making a mental note, and they're going to be back. The question is, when they come back, is my trap still going to be there, or is the season going to be closed? Did I run out of money to where I can't trap that anymore? Did I give up and pull, decide it wasn't worth sticking around? Did I move that trap to a different location? I mean, it's really hard to say. I think somebody asked how many miles I was earning my trap line. I thought I saw that. I don't see it now, but I thought that might have been a question. So I have a hard time keeping good track of things, but it's like God, it's at least, it's got to be like 100, 150, somewhere in that range to run all the traps. Right, yeah, footholds, yeah. So to keep them, so if you're dirt trapping, if you're trapping for fox and coyotes, probably the most common method nowadays is to use wax dirt. So the dirt does not absorb water, so it doesn't freeze, and it doesn't freeze the trap to the ground and inside the trap bed. You can also use peat moss. You can just, every time it gets rainy and wet, you can dig that trap bed out and put fresh dry dirt if you don't have wax dirt or peat moss. So you can use antifreeze. There's several different antifreezes. Some people spray like glycerin or glycol. Some people use these calcium flakes. Some people use table salt or rock salt, just regular salt in there to antifreeze the set. So there's a number of different things you can do. Personally, I prefer wax dirt if I get enough of it. It's expensive to make and takes time to make, but it works awesome. For trapping in snow, that's obviously a different story. Now, when we're like this marten and fisher foothold trapping, and like when I was in Alaska, I did this for lynx and wolverine. You're on top of the ground. You're not trapping down into the dirt. The trap is not flush with the ground. The trap is on top of the ground, on top of the snow. And in that case, you're just, every time you check the trap, you're breaking it free from the snow that's underneath it. And you're kind of just packing things down and setting the trap back on top of it. Playtendo, hey, Playtendo, what's up? Trying coal dust. Yeah, that's, I remember reading a lot of Craig O'Gorman's old stuff, and Craig was out in Montana, in eastern Montana, where they had a lot of that coal shale, and you would fill a truck bed full of coal shale and use that in his trap beds to keep from freezing. Hawkeye 13, what's your favorite coyote set? So I'm not the best coyote trapper because I don't put a lot of time into it. So, and our regulations make it, I hate to make excuses, but I'm going to. It's just hard to run a big, long coyote line. We got to check every day. We have a lot of private land with public access. So we got a lot of bird hunters on the roads, and you basically got to be up at 4:00 in the morning and have all your traps checked by 6:30, essentially 6:30, 7:00. So you can't run too long the line. You got to do it every 24 hours. Yeah, 70 Land Cruiser. That's what I meant when I said dry dirt. It was anthill. That we dig them out of anthills here. Very common. So I'm not the most experienced coyote trapper, but when I started out, I was 100% dirt hole sets. That was what I learned, and I thought that was the way to go. So I'd make, and I liked like the O'Gorman style, big hole, big bait, lots of bait, and that's kind of, I started out that way. It worked pretty well. As I kind of went along and started trapping coyotes in different situations, different areas, I've started incorporating more flat sets. And so now I can't say that I really have a necessarily a favorite set. I'm using about 50% dirt holes and 50% flat sets. And I would like to say that the flat sets I like the flat sets better than the dirt hole sets because they seem to be they're more target specific. If you have an animal investigate that set, I seem to have better percentage of actual catches with the flat sets, but I haven't developed the confidence yet that an animal is going to investigate every rock with a little urine squirted on it and maybe a lure smeared underneath it. As opposed to if I know if a hole is filled with a bunch of bait, every animal around that's interested in food is going to investigate it. So I'm I don't have a favorite right now. I think as I get more, if I spend more time coyote trapping, I'll probably develop a favorite set. Pat Connolly says, I think Kendall Obermeyer sells coal shale. I bet he does. Loki likes a dirt set or a trench set. All right. Okay. I'm going to show you guys something else. I think I had a list. Oh, I've left my list. 70 Land Cruiser likes a trench set and a curiosity set. What's a curiosity set? Just something weird? Something like a novel object placed in a weird spot? All right. I got to show these things off. So I think I'm going to do just like some live stream eventually where we just do fur. I'm just going to show people a bunch of fur. Bradley, people probably don't mess with flat sets as much as dirt hole. Yeah, I think flat sets, Brad, are getting more popular. More people seem to be on the bandwagon. But dirt hole is kind of the classic, the most popular set by far. Has been for a long time. So these are mittens, and I think I'm going to do, my hands are actually, it's been like 10 seconds and my hands are almost too hot. I got to take them out. I'm going to do probably a live stream where I just talk about fur and bring out a bunch of fur items I have, and probably just like ask you guys some thoughts and ideas you have on what you would make out of different fur items, different tan furs. Cause I think I've got a lot of ideas, but I've reached the end of my creativity. So I think some of you guys might be able to throw some things out there. But anyway, these things are pretty incredible. And these are beaver gauntlets that were made with beavers that I caught here in northern Maine. Winter beavers, nice thick prime fur, beautiful shiny furs. I had these tanned at Moyle Mink and Tannery in Idaho, and then I sent them up to my friend Josh Fisher in Fairbanks, Alaska, Fisher Furs, and he sewed these by hand. So the inside is moose hide. This is my beavers, and they're lined with a fleece. It's called Berber fleece. These, if you had the chance to see these in person, I'm going to try to snap some pictures of them eventually. I'm going to put them up on the Trapping Today store. They're going to be high ticket items, so I don't expect people to jump on them right away. But these are going to be $300 for this pair of mitts, and I've been toying with keeping them, but I think I'm going to sell them. So anyway, if you're interested, let me know. And then this hat that Josh made. This is also from my beavers. I think he made the mitts. I sent him a bunch of beaver pelts. He made the mitts, and then he had some leftover fur, and he made the hat. The hat is moose hide on the outside, and it's beaver fur on the inside, and so fits just perfect. I can't hear myself talk anymore. It's actually got a drawstring in here. Tighten it up, and ice fishing, perfect for ice fishing. Snow blowing the driveway if you're out in the open, you don't have any shelter. Super warm. Just an average, you're running around doing stuff, you're probably going to get too hot with this or with these. They're just, the fur is unbelievable. When I was in Alaska, though, I would have killed for these in Alaska. When it's 20, 30, 40 below, those furs are just, there's nothing that's as warm as wild fur. And so maybe that's kind of a little bit of a inspiration, thoughts, ideas for you guys. If you want to do something with your furs, if you are ambitious enough and you want to try sewing them, I'm sure you can find some patterns. Josh has actually been willing to help some people out. If you want some patterns, if you want some advice, you want to talk to him, he's been pretty open about that. And Josh will also sew fur for people. I know a friend of mine, Bruce, that has been on the podcast, he was interested after he saw my mitts, and he sent some of his furs to Moyle, and then he got them back, sent them to Josh, and Josh made him a pair of mitts, and he loves them. So Josh is doing that. He doesn't have a website or anything, but you can get in touch with me and I'll give you his contact info. And he's doing some stuff for the Alaska Trappers Association. He's donating a bunch of stuff with them, and he makes stuff for like dog mushers and stuff. So he's just getting started. He's only done this for like a year now, but he's really good. And then there's other people. There's other people around the country that'll do that. You just send them your fur and they'll make something for you. All right, Cole Tyson's been talking about getting some gauntlets. Negative 36 there yesterday. Yeah, Josh actually sent me a little snapshot of the weather at Fort Yukon. I think it was 45 below at Fort Yukon yesterday. So they're having quite a cold snap there for early December. I mean, it gets cold there, but this is somewhat unusually cold even for interior Alaska right now. Cole's brother has taken the plunge. Cole and I talk about it all the time, but we never act on it. And his brother actually moved up to Alaska. So he's in Fairbanks now, and he's, from what I can tell, he's loving it. So pretty soon he'll have a trap line and everything. Brad got warmer just so you put that on. Pat, you put the flaps up until icicles on your ears touch your shoulders. Okay, I didn't realize that. Let me see. I didn't even know the flaps went up on this. There. Yeah, I guess that's designed to go either way. I've never really liked a hat like that, so I've never done that. That's what do they call it, like the trooper hat. You get the flaps up. So I guess you could do that. And then you get cold and you put that down. You need a moose hide poncho. You know, what I was thinking is I got a bunch of marten pelts, and the price hasn't been good. It wasn't good for a couple of years, and I've been saving them, like getting them tanned. And I wanted to make some stuff, and I've been talking to Josh about it, but he says marten is not as durable. Like, you don't really want to make mitts out of marten. Like beaver is really durable, so you make mitts out of that, and you can do a lot of stuff with them and not have to worry about the hair falling out and stuff. So marten's a little bit less durable, so it makes better like liners, lining and stuff, and things that where there's not going to be a lot of a lot of friction, a lot of stress. So a marten hat, they do marten hats. Josh made me a marten hat. It's marten and Fisher. That works really well, but I'm kind of thinking vest. I'm thinking about maybe a marten vest at some point. So I may see if I get enough marten saved up. I think it'll take quite a few, and it'll take a lot of time. I'm gonna really owe Josh if I have him do a vest for me. I think before the marten vest, I've been talking with him about some otter mucklucks. So I think those would be really cool. Real life, what do you use to treat your leathers? I don't know, real life. I got a trapper in Montana. I picked up some beeswax stuff from him. I don't know what it is. It's like boot stuff that you rub on your leather boots. Maybe I could use that, but I don't know. I've never treated leather like that, so I'm really not sure. If anybody knows, is that the stuff to use, the boot stuff, or is there something else? Let us know. Mink oil, Pat says. Yeah, that'd probably work. Now you need a moose hide poncho. All right. Anything else trapping? You guys have anything else? We're gonna do a whole episode on fur, bear grease. Yeah. I think I had a few other topics, but I don't remember what they were. So if you have any other marten trapping questions or other similar questions. Timber Ridge Outdoors. How many marten traps do you put out each year? So, hey, Loki. All right, man. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for contributing to the chat. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Real life uses beeswax on leather bike seat. Okay. So number of traps that I set is it's obviously highly dependent on a lot of different things, but I'm typically last year I set between 45 and 50 sets, pretty much through the season. But my season only lasted 2 weeks because the trapping was so good that I caught my limit of marten before I had a chance to set additional sets. This year it's much slower, and so I've got I number every set as I set it, but then when I pull that set and I make another set, that other set has an additional number, but the old number no longer has a trap there, but I'm still kind of going in sequence with the numbers. So like I'm up to like 80 something, high 80s in my sequence, but I've pulled a number of traps as well. So I think I have about 70 to 75 traps out right now. And I basically, what I can tell you, if you guys have not listened in to the Trapping Today podcast, I did an episode last night. I recorded. It's out now. And I discussed this, and the title of the episode, I think, was When to Quit. So it's all about deciding how much effort is worth the effort on the trap line. And that can vary depending on your situation, your preferences, how your trapping's going, how much money you have, how well fur prices are doing, how stubborn you are, how motivated you are. There's a number of different things, and I'm kind of going back and forth on trying to decide whether how much more effort I want to put into this line. But basically, right now I believe I have 2.5 times the effort as I did last year, and right now I've caught 11 marten. Last year I got 25. So from 25 to 11 with 2.5 times the effort, less than half the marten, you're looking at, 5x difference. So my catch rate, if I were to calculate it, is probably declined like 80%. And that's just a factor of, well, there's two different things going on. And I'm almost getting sick of talking about this, but I know a lot of people haven't heard it, so I'll say it again. It's like a preacher. I'll say the same over and over and over again. Every other year, that marten and fisher trapping in the Northeast is on an every other year cycle. And on the even years, there's a low mast crop. There's not a lot of fruit and nuts and seeds out in the woods. And so the animals are very ready to go to bait, and they trap easily. In the odd years, things get odd. And there is lots and lots of food in the woods. There's a high mast crop. The beech nuts are everywhere. There's apple trees and choke cherries and mountain ash berries and hazelnuts, and just everything you can imagine is out there. There's tons and tons of food. The voles are going crazy. There's lots of squirrels. There's so much out there that those animals just aren't interested in your bait. And try getting them to squeeze through a 4-inch by 4-inch opening in a box to get to your bait. Just not going to happen. You're going to catch them. We catch some, but it's going to vary. So, I lost my train of thought there. But anyway, so this was expected. That's what I was trying to say. So there's two reasons that these catch rates fluctuate so much. Number one is because of the food availability. Number two, I think what's going on, I'm not a marten biologist, so don't quote me on this, but I think what's going on is in the odd years, you have so much food available that the animals are very healthy. The females implant lots of embryos. They have high success rate in birthing. The survival of the young is high because the female has lots of fat content. There's lots of food available. The young have lots of resources available. Everything is good. So there's lots of marten out there on the landscape. I hate saying landscape. That's like a buzzword that everybody uses these days. But there's lots of marten out there on the land. And all of a sudden they're coming into an even year where there's no food. And so on the even years, not only do you have limited food availability, but you have lots and lots of marten out there. And then during those even years, we're very successful catching them, obviously. So the harvest is up. The harvest is a very small overall percentage compared to the actual population mortality. I think you'd find a lot higher mortality is from not only from birds, but from starvation, from predation, from fishers and other animals. So you have, all of a sudden you have really low survival rates. The females have poor body condition. They don't implant as many embryos. Their survival rates are lower. The juveniles that are out migrating and dispersing into different habitats aren't as successful. And all of a sudden you have fewer marten going into the next odd year. And so what we have now is we have fewer marten and we have way more food. So you have two factors that are working against you here as a trapper. And so I know a lot of trappers that actually don't even go out on years like this because they consider it not worth the effort. Now for me, I don't know what I do sitting a year out from marten trapping. So that's just that. And we suffer with it. And that's why we do it. We love to do it. And we recognize that this is going to be tough, but I'm happy at 11. How's that beaver caster up there? It looks almost dry. Yeah, that is over dry. That's over dry. That caster. Yeah. I actually should take that down, put it in the freezer. But yeah, I trapped those beavers like a month ago. John, before you had to go to lynx proof boxes for marten, did you cover your bait on pole sets? If you did, how? Yes, John, in Maine, we were still required to cover our bait even back then before the lynx rules. We were supposed to cover it. And what we did is we use like 3 or 4 pieces of fir or spruce boughs, like tips, just break off of a spruce tree, for instance. We have a tree and we have the trap or pole, whatever. We have the trap mounted there on a bracket or some nails. Then just above the trap, you get your bait, you nail your bait to the tree. And then we would stick 3 or 4 spruce boughs, and we would either put them just over top of the bait, or what I often like to do is, let's see. Oh, I've got a trap. I got a trap here. So oftentimes what I would, let's see if I have another prop. Let's say this hammer is my tree, and I would pretend this is a 120 and it's set and it's on a leaning pole, and my bait is right here. I would stick 2 nails just above the bait, and I put them crossways from each other. So there's like a little gap between the 2 nails. And then I'd stick the base of the spruce boughs inside those nails. I'd do like 3 or 4 of them and shove them in there so that the spruce boughs would cover and make like a little cubby. And you have 1 or 2 on top and then 1 on each side. And so that would make like a little artificial cubby for the marten that's coming up the tree. It's going to be kind of funneled in to get to that bait. It's kind of got to get, inside of that cubby and go through the trap. And of course that helps keep birds from above being interested in your set. Now, the thing that I've always wondered, just the kind of the thinking side of me, is why do you care if a bird is on there or not? Because it's a body grip trap and the bird's not going to go through the body grip. The bird's going to come up from above, come behind, and it's going to be pecking at the meat. And what the old timers have told me is that is the absolute best attractant to your set. And I don't know if it's true or not, but they say having bird activity at your set, pecking at the bait, is like the best thing you can do for attracting marten. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, because I've never had the chance to try it because it's been illegal. Now, if you had a foothold trap, I'd understand. If you're using footholds on poles, you definitely want to cover that bait, because a bird will just maybe step foot on that foothold while it's on your bait and get caught. So you want to avoid that. So that's how I covered it, John. Brad, our number down because it's an odd year. Yes, I answered that. Tom, usually use for, hey, Tom answered it. Guys, what I was thinking is there's a thing called, I think it's called Clubhouse, and there's one called Discord, I think, where multiple people can get on and talk. We probably ought to try to do something like that. So it's because some of you guys, instead of typing, you should just turn your mic on and start talking with me, because you got a lot of answers. Derek had 23 sets out this year, the most I've ever run. Caught 6 marten. Jeez, Derek. Wow. Last year had 12 or 13 out and had 5 marten and a fisher. Wow. So you're lower, but geez, Derek, those are high. That's good, man. That's good percentage. You must be using good lure or something. Pat, I just learned the varied mass crop is a survival technique. Yes, it is for trees. Absolutely. By dropping the numbers for a few years, things that eat acorns population decline. Then when they're prey. Yeah, exactly. That's they get all that massed out at once so that they know there's going to be tons of predators feeding on those nuts. But because they, instead of doing just a little bit every year where the predator populations, the mouse populations and the vole populations and the squirrels, their numbers would adapt to that steady outcrop of nuts every year. And they just adapt to the point where they just eat every nut that hits the ground. Right. And so by doing it this way, they produce no nuts, almost nothing one year. And then the next year they explode. And so the nothing year, all of a sudden the squirrels and all the other animals, kind of a lot of them starve. They can't really support big populations. And then when the crop explodes, a number of those seeds can actually get into the ground and not get eaten, and then can produce more trees. Absolutely. It's a pretty awesome adaptive mechanism for trees to survive. Timber Ridge, 7 sets out right now, not much, but all I got and have only got 1. For some reason, we have no snow and the marten are just not moving. I hear you, Timber Ridge. Brad, would it make sense to focus more on the water critters and odd years? Yeah, it probably would. I actually thought about I was gonna just trap coyotes on the odd years and trap marten and fish around the even years. I thought about that for a while, but I just the thought of not trapping marten for a year kind of bothered me a little bit. Real life bald eagles booming in population may be a contributing factor. Yeah, I don't know. Eagles, though, I think eagles are kind of more of a scavenger, whereas things like hawks are more of a predator, and they definitely do a number on marten. When they can catch a marten out in the open, they do. Love seeing all the eagles. That's such a cool bird. Give them pickle ice fishing. Do you have tan fur for sale? Oh, hell yeah, I do, bird brain. Absolutely. I have tan fur for sale. Trappingtodaystore.com. I have a pile of marten pelts there from my trap line. Actually, those are from videos from last year that you've probably seen. I just sold a coyote pelt today, so I don't know how many I have. I think I have 2 or 3 coyote pelts left. I have 1 otter, 1 raccoon, and I'm out of beaver. So I think that's about it. So get on there. Oh, I have fox. I have 3 fox pelts. So get on trappingtodaystore.com. There's different sizes of those pelts. So look around at the different sizes to make sure you can see what's in stock. But yeah, please, absolutely awesome Christmas gift. And I'd really like to get that fur into people's hands rather than sit in my closet. So yes, absolutely. The more of the tan fur that I can sell, the more it's going to give me a chance to send these to Moyle. I got 34 beaver sitting here that I can't. It's going to be about $1,000 to tan them, and I don't have $1,000 right now. So if the more stuff I sell in the store, the closer I'm going to get to sending that stuff out. And I have a bunch of tan beaver, get into some mitts and stuff, and I get some otter and other stuff. Let's see. Hit the thumbs up and it will share your, yeah, guys, thumbs up is good. Appreciate that. Funny thing with the live stream is that they get almost no views. So the marten videos are getting like, thousands of views. They're starting out like 1,500, 2,500, a few thousand. Like one of them last year got 40,000 views. But when I do a live stream, it gets like 300 to 500 views. So it's not really, I don't really do it for that. It's funny because I think if I were to just sit here and record a video and then upload it not as a live stream, it would get more views for some reason. I don't understand it. But the thing with the reason I do the live stream is because of this chat. I like interacting with you guys and it gets you thinking, just like sitting around with a group of guys talking trapping. Derek exterminating them down east. He said the new lure might make the marten run right into those boxes. It's not true. There's no such thing as magic lure, guys. I know you know that, though. Timber Ridge, what's the limit on marten? 25 Timber Ridge. In Wyoming, we have no limit, so I'm not familiar with that. Yeah, I would like to trap marten in Wyoming one of these days. I know a guy from the Northeast that went out there one year and caught 100. Stayed there for a month and caught 100. So that'd be fun. I know I still got to get Tom Krause's video. I think he still traps up there. He lives in Wyoming and he's big in the Wyoming Trappers Association. And he's done a lot of writing and just I think he's in his 80s now, but really good trapper. And he did a marten trapping video out there. John wondered how you held the bows in place. Going to cover my bait and trap on Fisher pole sets, mainly hide the traps and trap on public ground. Not a bad idea. Tom, I might have missed, but did you ever have any activity around those coyote sets you set last year in the snow? Yeah, after I pulled them, Tom. Yeah. I set those just a couple days before the end of the season. And so I checked them for a couple days and then the season ended. I pulled. I went back a couple days later and there were just coyotes everywhere. So I took a while to get out there and set those. I didn't really coyote trap last year. Brad, how long will those put up beavers keep without being tanned? In this situation, they'll be okay because this fur shed when I'm not in here is the outside temperature. So those are gonna be tonight. They're gonna get down below freezing again. So it's pretty good. But if they're like at room temperature, you probably don't want them there for more than a few weeks. A couple months is probably pushing it. Even as they are right now, with this getting warm and cold, I still get a little bit nervous. They've been in the freezer since I caught those last spring, I think. Yeah, I caught them last spring. So they've been in the freezer all summer. I just popped them out of the freezer here this fall because I needed some space. But yeah, I don't want to be much longer. Room temperature, you get a month or two maybe. You got to watch the bugs though. If it's the summertime, you got to be very careful. In the summertime, a couple weeks, the bugs can just destroy them. D Rich, thanks for these videos. Learning a lot. Hey, thank you, D Rich. I'm hoping. I don't really have a lot to teach, but I hope it entertains you a little bit. Maybe pick something up. Cole, I don't know. It's pretty magical. It's still there from the year before. Cole is referring, I think, to he and I went on my trap line. I can't remember. Oh, this was before the season. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago. We did some preseason setting. We actually did a podcast in the truck driving back from the line, and we were putting boxes out on the line. And Cole actually, Cole knows this, but since then, that area, and I've got videos. It was before I started doing my like long 30, 45 minute videos, but I do like every time I go to a Martin or Fisher set, I do like a minute and a half video or whatever. And so it's a little hard to watch. I probably ought to go compile those. But anyway, that's when I just started doing YouTube, and I didn't know what I was doing. And the camera was all bouncy and grainy and stuff. But I trapped hard in that country, and I threw everything at those animals, and I did fairly well. I did better on Fisher than Martin. And really, it was what I learned over time was that it was cut too hard. It was just not good Martin habitat. It was decent. It was good Fisher habitat. But since then, Cole and I went there. The last year I trapped it, Cole and I went there. And the reason that's the last year I trapped it, the reason I'm in a different area now is because it's been cut even harder since I left there. And I actually left a few boxes in the woods. And I went back 2 years ago, I think it was. Might have been last year even. And half of those boxes were either gone or in the middle of clear cuts. There's just been devastated. That country does not support Martin. You might catch the odd Martin passing through, but it's gone. It's toast. So I actually haven't been back to that country. But the reason I bring that up is because Cole and I went there that before the last year I set out that area, and we went back to spots that I'd set the year before. And we went to a couple spots on the tree. You could see where I put my lure, and you could still smell scent from that lure from the year before. So that was a long distance call. And the skunk goes away fast. Skunk is a really volatile odor. And so that's why it smells so strong. It emits from the lure as quickly as possible. That's why it's such a loud odor. But there are 5 other ingredients in that lure, and those can hang on for a very long time. So that was kind of an interesting thing. I almost thought if I'm going to go back, I don't know if it's good to leave that there and have the animals accustomed to it. If that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. I mean, maybe you create these long-term areas that animal just investigates, and then they start peeing on, marking up, and then more animals go and check them out. Or maybe it's just annoying to them and it makes your lure less effective. I don't know yet. Birdbrain, I'll check out the store. Have you sold castor yet this year? Birdbrain, all the castor I've caught recently, I have used in my lure, which is in the store. It's called Birch River Beaver Lure. It's an awesome beaver lure, but it also works well for predators. Works well for bobcat, lynx, martin. I've used it in a bunch of my martin boxes too. It's a really good lure. So it's more expensive. I had to up the price because the castor is getting so high. But the last time I had Castor in the fur harvesters auction last year, and I got $100 a pound, average $100 a pound for it. Brad, what's your biggest beaver? I guess out our state record is like 130 pounds. That's interesting you say that, Brad. I don't catch big beaver. I don't know why. I see on Instagram, I see YouTube, I see guys text me on all these beaver they catch. They're 60, 70 pounds or 55 pounds. I can't remember the beaver I've caught that's over 50 pounds. I think I don't know, I must have tagged over 50 or 60 beaver last year. And I didn't weigh all of them, obviously. I weighed some of the bigger ones, but I don't know if I had one over 50 pounds. So I don't know what that is. I don't know what the deal is. I did. There's an old booklet from Maine Inland Fisheries or Fish and Game at the time, and they did a bunch of beaver data collection back in the 50s and 60s, I think it was. And they had some interesting notes about beaver size, and I think it corresponded pretty well to what I was seeing. But I got to go back and look at that again to make sure. But yeah, I don't catch a lot of big beaver. Tom, when you put those beaver in the freezer, do you roll them or do you have big enough freezer to stack them? So mine are like a taco. So it's a chest. I get them in a chest freezer, and I put them obviously leather to leather and fur to fur. That's the way they're stacked here. So you don't get all the fur all greased up. And I'll start with the biggest one and put it in all the way to the bottom, and it kind of rides up on the side walls of the chest freezer, and then the middle is down to the bottom. And then I just keep stacking on top and just kind of keep pushing them down. And sometimes you got to put like a concrete block or something on the top to get them to stay down so you can shut the door of the freezer. Cole, depressing going in there. Yeah, I know it was, Cole. Absolutely. Tom, you must have accurate scales. Yeah, that could be. That could be just the way it is, and I'm not BSing. Yeah, possibly. I had one the other day. I swore it had to be over 50 pounds. And so me and my youngest boy caught it. It was a big beaver. Maybe it was big because I had to haul it back to the truck quite a ways, so it felt big. But I thought, I'm gonna weigh this one for sure, and it was like 46 pounds. Brad, maybe big beavers just think of the past for us. I don't know. Maybe because there's so many beavers here, they're overpopulated and they don't grow. Timbridge, you ever make sets specifically for ermine weasel? No, I haven't. Bird brain, yes. Yeah, so I've never made sets specifically for weasel because we catch them incidentally in our marten and fisher traps, so I haven't needed to. What I would love to see, this is my personal opinion, and probably never happened, but maybe Cole can bring this up with the Maine Trappers Association. We do have like a special rule where you can use rat snap traps for weasel, and we had to have this special rule because of the lynx thing, right? So they made an exception where you could use those traps, but you had to have them inside of a box with I think it's like a 2-inch hole, opening diameter hole. So people do that. I've seen people set for them, specifically more in like central Maine where they don't have the marten like we have. But I kind of think it would be cool if you could use those, if we could have like some sort of an extended season where we could trap in like January and February just for weasel. Because, we don't have maybe the population level concerns with animals like weasel, like we would with marten and fisher. And so it wouldn't seem to be a management concern as far as harvest, but it would be a pretty cool opportunity, and it would be a great chance to get kids outside trapping during a season when we can't trap. So for those who aren't from Maine, our trapping season ends the 31st of December. You can trap for beaver and some incidental otter and some muskrat trapping after January 1st, but all the land animals, that closes January 1st. but I think or December 31st. But I think it would be kind of cool to be able to just set those just those little holes with the rat snap traps or something, or like a number one jump trap inside of a box, just to be able to get out and maybe do a line on snowshoes or skis or snowmobile. Just we don't have consistent snow where you can trap on snowmobile every year for Martin and Fisher, so that'd be kind of fun. Pat got a 60 in the cage the other day, verified on a scale. Was the cage on the scale too? I like giving Pat a hard time. Brad, have you been using bass for bait? Sorry for all the questions. No, I'm using suckers. Can you use bass? They're game fish in parts of the state. I don't know if that's legal, but probably you could use them up here because we have no size or bag limit on bass here. They're considered invasive. But no, I've been using suckers and fall fish, which are a species that we refer to as chubs. Well, if you're in Maine, you know that. That's what I've been using. I really like those fish, particularly suckers, because they seem to give off a lot of scent when they're frozen. A lot. They're real fatty and got a lot of scent. Real life, can't wait till this lynx thing goes away. They trap in Canada. Yeah, you may be waiting a while, real life. I hate to break it to you, but you might be waiting a while. Derek and I were just talking the other day. If you put those weasel boxes next to your martin traps, if you had a martin box that was really getting a lot of stolen baits, yeah, that would help with the bait thieves. Yeah, for sure. I did. It would, but then of course you'd be setting twice as many boxes too. So would it be? I don't know. It'd probably be worth it, but you'd have to carry those extra boxes in your truck too. I seem to have cut down on the fired empty traps when I went to Connie Pans, except that this year that doesn't seem to be the case. And I think I know what's going on, but I don't have video camera to confirm it, and I haven't had good consistent snow. But I think it's mice or voles that are going into my boxes and running across the Connie Pans and firing the traps. Because I'm seeing lots and lots of those tracks where I can see tracks. I'm seeing those go in and out of the boxes like crazy, and I'm getting way more fired traps, and their populations are just through the roof. They're everywhere. So I think that's kind of what I got going on. And of course, if I go away from Connie Pans and go back to triggers, you'd avoid a lot of that, but then you're going to get the weasel stealing your bait. So I don't know what's better. Pat, how do you catch your suckers? Pat, I'm a fish biologist. How do you think I catch my suckers? I take my boy out to pickerel pond and catch all the chub he can. Tom, I meant just a snap trap box, but yeah. Oh yeah. It'd be smaller for sure. Yeah. All right, guys. Anything else? This was fun. I enjoy these. Been going for an hour. You can catch them here, Pat. You can catch them. I get them usually in September, October, and I stack them in the freezer and take them out like the day or two before the season and pull them out and chop them up. Thank you, Brad. I hope you have a good trapping season. Late start, but it's better late than never. My first year, I was waiting on the trapper course, and I finally got it done. Man, I was so excited. The day I walked out of that place with that certificate, I was ready to go, man. It was greatest thing in the world. I had a guy, actually, I don't even know if he's still alive. He's probably around. His name was Clifford Caldwell, and I grew up in a little tiny town of there was like a dozen people. Oh, guys, I got to tell you, if you don't listen to the podcast, I want to mention this because, well, if you don't listen if you don't listen to the podcast, then you probably won't listen to this other podcast, so it's not going to matter. But I just did a guest appearance on the Kansas Backcountry Hunters and Anglers podcast. So if you've never heard of that, search for it, check it out. And we talked for like close to an hour and a half on trapping. so they'd never had somebody on to talk trapping. They had a lot of great questions, and we just went on and on about trapping. So check that out if you get a chance. Forgot to mention that. But yeah, when I was just getting started, it was just a really small town. The nearest town, actual real town next to me, had like 200 people, and there was like one trapper in that town. And finally, I had a guy that moved next door to me, and he was a trapper, and he agreed to teach me how to trap. And I was hooked as soon as I went out on the line with him the first time. I was just absolutely just obsessed with trapping. Then the problem was I needed the course. That was the big deal. And we were already into the trapping season. There was no courses available and everything. And it wasn't looking good for getting courses. And I'm just I think I was 16 or 17. And I wanted nothing more than to get out trapping, but I couldn't. So this guy was the regional safety coordinator for the area. He lived in Presque Isle, and I called him up just out of the blue, and I said, I don't know what to tell you, but I've looked everywhere for a trapper course, and I want to trap. I really want to trap. And he said, are there other trappers around that are interested? You got any groups or anybody? I said, no, not really. I said, I got a couple friends that have been talking about it, but he said, I'll tell you what. He said, you get another kid or two with you. He said, I'll go over and we'll make this work. He said, do you have a place? I said, well, there's a town office in the next town over. And he said, do you think we can get the room? I said, I'll call him. He said, you get me a room? He said, I'll go on a Sunday and we'll do the trapper course. So I had myself, two of my friends, and our three fathers. The six of us, this guy showed up and he was there for 6 or 8 hours, and he gave us the whole trapper course. And I don't know if I'll ever run into that guy again, but I owe him so much because he went out of his way, and I started trapping, and my two friends started trapping that wouldn't have otherwise. And that really meant a lot. That went a long ways for me as a person, and for whoever I've been able to interact with in the trapping world since then. So that's a big deal. If you ever had a chance to do something like that, do it. Okay. Derek, mackerel worked in one of my boxes. Problem is it's so warm down here. Sometimes they just melt in a few days. Yeah. We have to talk about that someday, about bait and how bait lasts and whether you should replace it or let it mellow. Real life, use a frog gig, freeze suckers for lobster bait. Get that out as quick as I can. Okay. It's going to be after Christmas. Going to be quick, or you're going to have to change your topic and do a different topic, which is okay. 2 years to get my course, sending emails and everything. Yeah, I was lucky, Brad. I had a good person there. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'm gonna tune out here and get to bed, but appreciate you coming on, and hope everybody is having a good trapping season, and we'll catch you next time.